Alright, let's go ahead and close this brass folder, and let's look at this first steel folder. Now there's probably some things we can do to the base material right away to get it closer to this. So let's look at that. I'm going to select Steel Rust and Wear, come down here, and I think this actually needs to be a little bit darker. Maybe something like this. Color noisiness. So it's going to play with these sliders until I get something that I like. So there is rust on this, but it's pretty isolated in terms of where it's at. It's all in this crevice here mostly, so I'm going to not crank this up. I'm going to use a different method to get that. I'm going to change projection to triplanar projection. Turn the scale up a little bit. And that's looking pretty good. Alright, let's go ahead and get that rust we were talking about. So I'm going to go to Materials, scroll down, and there's Rust Coarse and Rust Fine. Let's try Rust Fine. Drag this above, like so. And then under Smart Masks, let's first try this Dust Occlusion by dragging it on Rust Fine. Come over here, click on this dirt, scroll up. Turn dirt level up and dirt contrast up. And let's see what this looks like with the other rust. This is very saturated, so I'm going to go back to Materials, find Rust Coarse, and drag it over here. And I think the Rust Fine is actually better. Let's see. Rust Fine. So I'll just keep it like that. Rust Color, we'll just adjust this, and I'm going to take the saturation level and pull it down a little bit. Something like that. Alright, now that we have some rust on here, I'm going to touch this up a bit later, but let's go ahead and do the bit. So I'll close this folder, and let's go ahead and grab the Steel Rust and Wear, and I'm going to look at my reference again. You can see that it's a little bit brighter down here, and then we start to get a lot of corrosion and stuff up top, and a little bit where it meets the handle. So I'm going to use that as my reference, and let's go ahead and make this just a touch darker as well. Something like that. Increase the surface imperfections a bit. Dirt intensity, dirt contrast. No. And then rust intensity, we don't want this crazy. We want to be able to control it, but I will turn it up a little bit. So there's just some patches here and there. And let's come up here and change this to triplanar projection as well. I think there's too much rust currently, so let's turn that down a little. Actually, no, it's fine. Let's try and get some of the grime that's at the top coming down. So I'll add a new fill layer, and I'll change the color to this sort of dark color. Turn off normal and metal and height. And then under Smart Masks, right, let's use this ground dirt and drag it onto this fill layer. And while we're at it, let's rename this fill layer to maybe dark wear. select this grunge map 3 and change it to triplanar projection, and starting to scale up a bit and increase the balance. And notice when I drag on this brush pattern, what's happening here. So I want to pull this down, something like this. So I'm going to right click on this mask and add paint. Now you can see I can paint on this, and I'm going to change this from white to black down here so I can paint things away. And let's choose a better brush. Let's choose Dirt 1 and just kind of get rid of some spots to make it look a little more patchy. And I'll change this back to white, decrease my brush size. Just make a couple little areas, and then it gets quite a bit up here, so I'll paint this back on. Too much. We need some color variation in here, and we'll do that soon. Let's go back here, and roughness, let's increase the roughness a little bit so that we have some, we want some variation when it goes from like clean metal to dirty, worn metal. That's better. Alright, so for the first pass at each material, this is looking good. We need more details and a few adjustments to get it closer to the reference, and we need to add the text as well. So we'll work on that in the next video. See you there.